Hi, so welcome to another week of editing. This week I've picked a photographer from Myanmar, Wai Nin Tun. I think she also calls herself Gigi Tun. And it looks like she's a friend of Yu from Thumo Collective. And she's based, I believe, in Spain, but works on projects in both countries. And her project is called Casa de la Buena Vida. Okay, so let's have a look at the text. La Casa de la Buena Vida is a story of hope, struggle and salvation in an unusual halfway house whose doors are open to all whom Malagueno society has overlooked on its own edges. So basically it's a story of a halfway house in Spain, located in Malaga's most infamous district. Okay, let's have a look at the pictures. Okay, so you've got a wide edit of 95 images. And from the looks of the pictures, it looks like you've spent quite a bit of time on this project, and it looks like the community, the subjects have actually welcomed you into their lives and let you in to sort of tell their story. The first reading is there seems to be a lot of characters that you've photographed, but then the images, there's only a few images of each. I'm getting a bit confused, and there isn't something to latch onto that I could, or there isn't a thread throughout, for example, that allows me to cohesively follow any sort of narrative. It's just like glimpses of this person, that person, that person, that person, that person. I'm yearning for a bit more cohesion, maybe less sort of broad coverage, maybe perhaps picking one or two subjects and following their journey, their life journey within this halfway house. I saw this. Obviously, this lady's pregnant and expecting a baby, so it could. And I'm assuming it's the same lady. So this could have been a subject where you go back to your points, your write-up where you talk about a story of hope, struggle, and salvation in an unusual halfway house. So that line, the story of hope, struggle, and salvation in this halfway house, could be, exemplified in the journey of this woman giving life. Rafa kisses a heavily pregnant Bea in their room at La Casa de la Buena Vida. They met at the halfway house and they're going to have their first child. So that, I think, is the perfect vehicle for you to sort of tell your story, this story of hope, struggle, and salvation, as you say. Okay, so it looks like I've cut it down. So I've cut it down to 19 images, but let's see if I can cut it down further and actually make a sequence. So I'm going to give you a sequence of 15 images. 15. So cut down from 90 plus to 15. So essentially what I've done, Like I mentioned before, it may be prudent to pick one or two subjects and then follow their journey and use their story arc to thread the narrative of the project, exploring the themes of, as you mentioned in your text, hope, struggle, and salvation. So one of the subjects that I highlighted earlier was the pregnant lady, and her partner, which they met at the halfway house and fell in love, and now they're expecting their baby. So that is, I think, quite a high potential as one of the stories that allows you to sort of thread a story arc together. The other one that I noticed when I looked at the images and went through them and looked at also your captions is perhaps the friendship between these two residents. In your caption, you said that she is one of the youngest residents in the halfway house, and it looks like she's got a good friendship with this old resident who's sick. So that could be the second sort of story arc. So that's kind of how I came up with this edit. So let's have a look at the sequence. So I'm actually opening with this image because I think it's a beautiful shot, and I think it serves as a nice opening image. I think it's beautiful. It shows a lot of detail in terms of the place they're living in, the cracks on the wall and all that. But she's lying in bed with the bed sheet, and there's a sense of beauty and calm, hope, using your words, about this frame. So I think this is a nice opening shot. So this is my first image. Second one is your traditional establishing shot, which kind of locates where this is taking place. Then we introduce our first protagonist, which is this lady, and her name is Bea. Her first pregnancy. Then number 4, we introduce the other main protagonist, which is the youngest, one of the youngest residents. Her name is Anna, and we introduce her friendship with the old resident who's sick, Juan. And then obviously, the others, we slowly sort of, allow the story to unfold, and other sort of residents to be introduced. And I'm putting these sort of images in visually to let you know, to show you it helps to have frames like this, which aren't like some of your many other frames, which is very busy with people, and a lot of them don't really reveal much. They kind of, a lot of the situations you photograph, they're kind of just standing around, and a lot of the other frames have other residents where you just have one photograph of them, and they don't really sort of add to the story, especially if your story is limited by the amount of images you can have. So you can't have everybody, or you can't tell everybody's story. Yeah. Anna giving medication to the old resident. I like this frame. This is beautifully framed. I think this is one of your better framed shots. It's not too busy. I like the graphic at the back, the element, and then the shaving the head. So things like this will allow you to introduce other residents. I think this is a nice frame. Yep. It continues. Like I said, you need detailed shots as well, which allows, it gives your sequence a bit of visual rhythm. Of course, you have to be particular about what sort of details you shoot, but by inserting this here for your as a guide, hopefully it'll prompt you to look at detail, whether it's this or something else. I'm sure you can get better shots. Of course, this is another detail of another resident. And then this the detail here, for example, it's the daughter. Let's see what the caption says. I think it's an interesting shot. Let's see, dead horse abandoned at the halfway house by the riverbed by the halfway house. And then I think this is my last shot. Yeah. So again, showing hope. So I put this as the last frame as a prompt for you to develop their story. So this is my last frame, and this frame in many ways exemplifies the word you used, which is hope, life, and love within the confines of this halfway house of so-called social outcasts. Yeah, so I'll just show that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's my edit. Hope this helps you, Gigi, moving forward and working on your project and final edit. I'd love to see what the final sort of project looks like. Thanks everyone for following what I've been doing weekly with these editing sort of exercises. And until the next episode, take care and stay healthy. See you later.